and we are live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's virtual forum to deal with questions about the COVID-19 pandemic and its effect on our ratepayers, on all of us. I want to thank all the participants, all the companies that have sent in comments. I've read them all, and I appreciate the thought and the work that has gone into what you've sent us and your president. I look forward to hearing from everybody this morning. First thing I'm going to do is ask Mr. David Butler, our attorney, to read the docket, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is docket number 2020-106A, and we are here today for a virtual forum relating to the Office of Regulatory Staff's motion to solicit comments from utilities and other interested stakeholders regarding measures to be taken to mitigate impacts of COVID-19 on utility customers. Mr. Chairman and other commissioners, the docket is in order.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Okay, now as we do on all of these virtual hearings, I'm going to call the commission roll, and if you will just answer when I call your name. Commissioner Belser.
Present.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Howard.
Here.
Commissioner Urban.
Here.
Thank you. Welcome all commissioners. Now we will take appearances from the parties. First, Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress.
Good morning. Heather Shirley Smith on behalf of Duke Energy Carolinas, Duke Energy Progress, as well as Piedmont Natural Gas, and we have 3 speakers we'll be happy to introduce at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Smith. I had to find you in my Brady Bunch thing of people on the wall. Vote
and
Solar.
Mr. Chairman, Frank Ellerby also here for the Duke companies.
Great. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Ellerby. Vote Solar.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thad Cully on behalf of Vote Solar.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Cully. Lockhart Power Company.
This is Brian Stone, and I have David Turner on behalf of Lockhart Power Company, and we're represented by counsel as well.
Welcome, Mr. Stone. South Carolina Telephone Cooperative. South Carolina Telephone Cooperative. Okay, Blue Granite Water Company.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Sam Wellborn here on behalf of Blue Granite.
Welcome, Mr. Wellborn. Piedmont Natural Gas.
Bruce
Heather
Barkley for Piedmont, and Heather had previously introduced herself as counsel for Piedmont. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gotcha. I forgot about that. Thank you. Thank you both. Appreciate it. Welcome. Okay, Palmetto Utilities and Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Mark Dade from both companies.
Thank you. Welcome. Dominion Energy, South Carolina.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chad Burgess, and I'm in-house corporate counsel for Dominion Energy, South Carolina.
Welcome, Mr. Burgess. South Carolina State Conference, NAACP, South Carolina CCL, SACE, Upstate Forever.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. This is Bland Holman, Southern Environmental Law Center, and with me is my colleague, Kate Lee, who will be doing our presenting today.
Welcome, Mr. Holman. CenturyLink.
Mr. Chairman, this is Scott Elliott. I represent CenturyLink this morning.
Welcome, Mr. Elliott. Office of Regulatory Staff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Jeff Nelson on behalf of the Office of Regulatory Staff.
Welcome, Mr. Nelson. Okay, as I think I informed everyone earlier, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Butler, who's seated in the hearing room, to proceed, and we're going to have questions from the commissioners at the end. And Mr. Butler, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate that. I want to say welcome to the participants this morning, and also welcome to those who are watching us via live stream. As has been stated, this virtual forum is related to docket number 2020-106A, and it relates to the Office of Regulatory Staff's motion to solicit comments from utilities and other interested stakeholders regarding measures to be taken to mitigate impacts of COVID-19 on utility customers. Now, our plan this morning is for me to call on the various entities, both utilities and non-utility stakeholders, that file comments with the Commission. And we will ask you to please, when I call you, to summarize your comments, file pursuant to order number 2020-372. When I call your organization's name, I would ask again that the organization's representative clearly identify yourself for the benefit of the other participants and the court reporter. When the spokesman or spokeswomen for all entities have completed their summaries of their comments, the commissioners will then have a chance to ask questions of the participants. I'm aware that some of you have indicated that you have various technical people from your companies who are available to answer questions, as well as yourselves, and that is fine also. However, I would ask that if you have a technical person answer a question, that you have that person clearly identify themselves prior to answering. In any event, whether you're a lawyer or a technical person, I would again ask you to please speak slowly and distinctly so that our court reporter, Ms. Wheat, can record your answers and so that everyone can hear your remarks. So without further ado, I'll begin calling names of the participants today. Our first participant will be Duke Energy Corporation. I understand this will be a joint presentation concerning Duke Energy Carolinas LLC and Duke Energy Progress LLC. If you will, please.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission and stakeholders, my name is Heather Shirley Smith, and I'm Deputy General Counsel for Duke Energy. Before I begin with introducing our speakers, if you don't mind, I'll call their names for clarity given the number of participants, and maybe our speakers can raise their hands so that folks will know who you are. But presenting today will be Mike Callahan, Leslie Quick, as well as Bruce Barkley. And just to briefly say, we're very happy to be here, happy that the Commission has had this forum and giving us an opportunity to share our thoughts and our plans. To introduce our speakers, Mike Callahan is president of Duke Energy's utility operations in South Carolina, serving around 760,000 electric customers. Mr. Callahan joined Duke in 2002, and after a variety of roles, was named to his current position in 2019, October of 2019. Prior to assuming the state president's role, he was Vice President of Investor Relations. Mike will be speaking on behalf of Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress. Bruce Barkley will be speaking on behalf of Piedmont Natural Gas. Bruce is Vice President of Rates and Natural Gas Supply for Piedmont. He joined Piedmont in 2015 and began serving in his current role in 2019, leading Piedmont's regulatory natural gas acquisition and community relations group. Piedmont serves approximately 150,000 natural gas customers in South Carolina. Leslie Quick will be speaking to both Piedmont Natural Gas and Duke Energy Progress in Carolina's questions from a customer services perspective. Leslie is Vice President of Strategic Planning, Governance, and Technology for Duke Energy's Customer Services Organization. She's been with Duke since 2002 and has had a variety of positions in finance, rates, strategy, and customer solutions. She was Vice President of Revenue Services prior to her current position. Ms. Quick will not be delivering prepared comments, but will be on hand to answer questions from the Commission. thank you for the opportunity to present today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mike, and then after Mike, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather, and good morning, Chairman Randall and other members of the Commission. I'm Mike Callahan, and it's great to be here with you today. As Heather mentioned, I'm Duke Energy's South Carolina State President, and I am here with Leslie Quick to talk about Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress. This is my first time appearing before this commission, and we are appreciative of this docket and this forum to enable us to share with you some of the challenges affecting our customers and the companies, what we're doing for our customers, and how we see the next few months transpiring as we all try to return to normal. We hope our comments are helpful and look forward to additional dialogue in the coming months, both with the Commission and these types of forums, as well as with the ORS and other stakeholders, including our customers. We're also mindful of the comments filed by other parties on Friday, and we have our subject matter experts working diligently through them and other matters in this docket. With that, let me move to a summary of the comments we filed on May 22nd, and then Leslie and I would be happy to answer your questions at the end of everyone's comments. Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress recognize the profound financial impact of this pandemic and proactively implemented several significant measures to help customers cope with potential financial hardship due to COVID-19. This included suspending service disconnections for non-payments, suspending collections, and waiving late payment, return check, and other fees. We've also relaxed some of our payment arrangement policies. In addition, we created a dedicated website that includes information on our response and other helpful resources for our customers. To help alleviate financial concerns, we are proactively reaching out via text, email, and outbound calls to South Carolina residential and small business customers who are more than 60 days late on their bills, and offering to enroll them in deferred payment arrangements based on their individual circumstances. We've also begun an outbound call campaign to crisis assistance agencies across the state to ensure we have the most current information on their capacity to serve customers in need. This allows us to better direct our customers to community resources that may offer them additional financial assistance. Additionally, we have sent and will continue to send broad and targeted communications to customers reminding them of ways to save on their energy bills. While the companies have encouraged customers to pay as much as they can to avoid higher bills later, we understand this pandemic has created real financial hardships for some of our customers and communities. As we develop plans to resume normal billing and payment processes, we will continue to monitor those impacts and recognize this needs to be a thoughtful process that provides customers with increased flexibility. To support our communities, the Duke Energy Foundation has made a variety of donations to help local health and human services nonprofits, including those providing meals to children and families impacted by school closures. This includes $760,000 in South Carolina aid during the pandemic, including more than $400,000 in direct COVID-19 relief and additional funds to help areas hard hit by tornadoes in April. The health and safety of our employees is a top priority as well. Some of the actions we have taken to support our employees include activating work-at-home protocols for about 18,000 employees across the enterprise in mid-March, and implementing new safety procedures, which have been particularly important during storm restorations and nuclear outages. In order to protect critical operational staff, we have implemented rotating shifts, enhanced protective equipment, additional disinfecting cleaning, temperature checks, and expanded our visitor restrictions. As I mentioned, Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress are planning for a return to normal operations, just as many are across the state. Our goal is to work with customers as South Carolina continues to open up the economy. While we plan on reinstituting certain normal business practices, this is not expected to occur until later in the summer. Through all of this, we will continue to communicate with our customers. Our workforce will also begin slowly returning to offices in a staggered time frame beginning in June 2020, while abiding by CDC guidance on social distancing and protections. We're also tracking impacts to the financial strength of the company. While there has been a small increase in residential electricity usage from people working from home, this hasn't made up for the loss in load usually required by the many businesses that have closed. As a result, we've seen a decrease in revenue while also experiencing increased operating costs. We agree with ORS's observation that reduced usage is impacting the fixed cost recovery and revenue assumptions that were included in rates designed to collect costs incurred to serve customers. These costs include not only ongoing operational and financing costs, but the borrowings necessary to support extended payment arrangements. It is important to note that Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress have taken on these challenges and offered assistance at a time when the company's revenues and financial position have been greatly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite these challenges, one thing has not changed, and that is our commitment and obligation to keep the lights on. We take this very seriously. Spring storms, including a deadly tornado in Oconee County, have damaged our system, and outages have further interrupted the lives of our customers. Our team has responded each and every time with the high level of excellence this Commission and our customers have come to expect. We provide this even as line technicians and other first responders operate under procedures that are new to the workforce. And as hurricane season fast approaches, the Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress teams will be ready. Whether the challenges are COVID-19 or storms, we are committed to providing the energy our customers in South Carolina rely on. So as I close, let me recognize that it is clear this pandemic will have a lasting impact on many of us. But let me assure this Commission that our determination to help our customers, employees, and communities is unwavering. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude for providing us the opportunity to participate in this forum today. And that concludes my prepared comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Callahan.
Would you like to do your comment?
Are there any other comments from Duke at this time?
I think Bruce is trying to get started here. He might be on mute.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Bruce. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Mr. Butler. Good morning, Chairman Randall and other members of the Commission. I am Bruce Barkley, Vice President of Rates, Natural Gas Supply for Piedmont Natural Gas, and I will now read a summary of our comments that were filed on Friday. Joining me today, as Heather has mentioned, is Leslie Quick, our VP, who can respond to questions at the end. And I would like to begin my statement by thanking the Commission for the opportunity to respond to the questions set forth in their order 2020-372, and for the Commission's continuing focus and attention to the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic on the operations of regulated utilities in South Carolina, including Piedmont. I'll discuss Piedmont's response to the pandemic, the impact on Piedmont, and our plan to return to normal operations. Piedmont recognizes the difficult financial impact to customers caused by this crisis. In response to the current pandemic, the company proactively took several steps to alleviate customer hardships and help them navigate these difficult times. In mid-March, Piedmont suspended disconnection of South Carolina customers for non-payment, reconnected some non-payment disconnections, and began waiving late payment fees and return check fees for all customers in response to the looming COVID-19 pandemic. Piedmont has also adopted a number of operational changes to increase protection to customers, employees, and the public, including curtailment of travel, implementation of work at home, deferral of close contact work in the field, reconstitution of our call center operations, thermal scanning, and special cleaning for operational and corporate centers. Piedmont has implemented other measures designed to ease the impact of the pandemic on its customers, such as voluntary absorption of credit card fees by the company, adoption of a maximum flexibility policy in establishing payment plans, enhanced charitable giving to social agencies focused on food security and utility assistance through the Duke Energy Foundation, and establishment of a COVID-19 page on our website designed to keep customers up to date on the company's actions and assistance available to our customers. As identified in more detail in our filed comments, the reduction in usage associated with the pandemic has presented a challenge to Piedmont as a result of the lower than normal revenues received by the company during the last several months. In addition, the cessation of disconnections for non-payment have increased Piedmont, South Carolina payment arrearages by approximately $1.2 million, or 67%, during the period February 2020 through the end of April 2020, and resulted in the waiver of approximately $82,000 in late payment fees and return check charges. Piedmont agrees with ORS's observations that reduced usage is impacting the fixed cost recovery and revenue assumptions included in rates designed to collect costs incurred in serving customers, and that accurate data is essential. The costs not only include ongoing operational and financing costs necessary to serve customers, but the borrowings necessary to support extended payment arrangements. Piedmont is tracking costs, revenue impacts, and savings related to COVID-19 on a quarterly basis and will provide the findings to the Commission within 30 days of each quarter end, beginning with the second quarter of 2020. Piedmont goals is to work with customers in South Carolina continues to open its economy and recover from this pandemic. We understand that many of our customers are concerned about the possibility of being disconnected, and we are working hard to avoid those disconnections. In order to avoid them, Piedmont is currently in the middle of a payment arrangement campaign to inform identified residential, small, medium business customers in arrears about several payment arrangement options through emails, text messages, and outbound calls. The company is actively communicating its plans to address customer concerns resulting from the pandemic with its partner relief organizations in South Carolina, and we fully intend to abide by the directives contained in this Commission's Order 2020-374, which requires companies to refer any customer needing assistance to local organizations and or arrange payment plans that will avoid or minimize penalties and service interruptions prior to the termination of utility service, in addition to applying appropriate Commission regulations related to termination of service. If disconnections for non-payment ultimately do become necessary, we do not expect the process to result in any actual physical disconnections prior to August of 2020. Our workforce will return to offices on a staggered time frame and in response to current conditions beginning next month. We are abiding by CDC guidance on social distancing and protections for customers as they encounter vendors and stakeholders. A complete return to normal operations is dependent upon whether COVID-19 increases or decreases over time and any second wave that may occur. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, our representatives are ready for any questions that the Commission may have.
Hey, Ms. Smith, as I understand it, the Commission is going to hear all the summaries.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
I was just going to say we're going to hold questions till the end. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll go to Vote Solar. Mr. Culley.
Thank you, Mr. Butler and commissioners and chairman. Sorry, here getting myself set. My name is Thad Culley. I'm Senior Regional Director for the Southeast and Regulatory Counsel for Vote Solar. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's good to see familiar faces. So the purpose of my statement today is to provide a high-level summary of the comments that were filed this Friday, and recognizing that the comments and attachments totaled probably 80 or more pages, I will endeavor to keep this as short as possible and hope not too many weekends were ruined by that. But just to start, Vote Solar does realize these challenges are pervasive, and they cut across all essential services and all customer classes. But our comments on Friday and today focus just on residential customers of the regulated electrical utilities. Well, since the onset of COVID-19 public health emergency, Vote Solar has been advocating for policies to protect customers from disconnection. Now, this is a time of unprecedented economic disruption, needless to say. Service disconnection moratoria were a noble and necessary first line of defense for affected customers. However, Vote Solar is deeply concerned that we are on the cusp of an unprecedented crisis of energy affordability, and that tens of thousands of households in South Carolina could face disconnection when the status quo policy returns to full force. So given the immediacy of this potential crisis, our comments begin with 5 recommendations for near-term and intermediate-term Commission action. First, Vote Solar would ask that the Commission act now to extend the service disconnection moratorium through at least the end of August 2020. Second, we would ask the Commission to act now to create a standard grace period for customers to give them till at least March 2021 to catch up on past due balances. And this would get through the worst of weather of both summer and winter seasons. Third, we ask the Commission explore interim policies that could provide for partial or full forgiveness of individual consumer debt in some cases. And these options could include creative options that we outlined in our comments for customers that could receive an upfront debt forgiveness as consideration for participating in qualifying energy efficiency or demand-side management programs. This could be a win-win for utilities and these indebted customers, and could help mitigate the amount of increased bad debt expense that will be socialized to other ratepayers. Fourth, we note that any solution must appropriately balance the needs of regulated utilities to maintain their financial integrity, and for consumers who need to afford these essential services. The Vote Solar notes that recognizing and capturing any positive cost-saving benefits resulting from the system and operational changes during this period will help mitigate and offset any future rate impacts on consumers. And lastly, we ask that the Commission institute a longer-term proceeding to address the structural issues of energy affordability and to help standardize procedures to help minimize the deprival of essential services to consumers during times of financial trauma. Well, the balance of our comments addressed in greater depth the basis for urgency for making these recommendations, the inherent authority of the Commission to pursue these recommendations, and third, the insights and examples of best practices from around the country in addressing these problems. And finally, Vote Solar appreciates the opportunity to written comments and to provide this summary here today. We appreciate this Commission has been proactive in protecting the most vulnerable South Carolinians, and we applaud and appreciate your actions on that front. And we also wish to thank the Office of Regulatory staff for showing leadership to seek this type of broad input on the solution, and to ask for more detailed reporting of COVID-related impacts and the factors that are related to changing cost conditions for utilities. Indeed, Vote Solar believes that additional reporting of data on customer arrearages and those at risk of disconnection is critical if we're to have a line of sight on the breadth and depth of the problem. Now, our hope is that the size of this financial crisis will diminish as South Carolina gets back to work. But our 5 recommendations to the Commission are intended to buy consumers time as the Commission both gathers the data it needs to understand the extent of this consumer debt crisis and fashions the solutions to this situation. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Culley. Next on our list is Lockhart Power Company. I know Mr. Stone was with us earlier. Do you want to proceed, sir?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners and everyone else on the call. I'd echo some of the general comments that others have made. I'm going to read what we submitted in its entirety. It is succinct, and so we've focused on particularly the topics that were submitted by the ORS. Lockhart Power Company respectfully submits the following comments in response to Order Number 2020-372 issued by the Public Service Commission of South Carolina in the above referenced docket. The Commission's order was issued in response to a motion filed by the Office of Regulatory Staff on May 8, 2020, requesting, among other things, that the Commission solicit input from utilities regarding specific mitigation measures outlined in the ORS motion. And our response is as follows. And we've numbered these topics in the order they were submitted by the ORS. Topic number 1, online payment and credit card processing fees. Lockhart Power Company itself does not charge customers any fees for payments made online, by phone, or using a credit or debit card. The fees are collected by a third-party company collecting such payments on Lockhart Power's behalf. Lockhart reached out to the third-party company when the state of emergency began to see if the third-party company was willing to waive the fees on a temporary basis and was told that was not possible. Topic number 2, late payment fees. Lockhart Power suspended assessing late payment fees on customer balances at the time the state of emergency was declared and does not plan to begin assessing them again until July 2020, when Lockhart plans to return to normal business practices. Lockhart's latest estimate on the financial impact to date of this suspension is the loss of approximately $2,300. Topic 3, return check charges. Lockhart Power Company has continued to pass through the bank-assessed service charges associated with return checks from customer payments. This is typically a small number of customers, and Lockhart expects this amount has not increased during the pandemic. If Lockhart were to waive these fees, all of its customers would be impacted by fees related to only a small portion of its customer base. Topic 4, credit reporting. Lockhart Power Company typically does not report customer payment delinquencies to credit reporting agencies. However, Lockhart does use a credit agency in determining customer credit worthiness and security deposits for new applications. However, Lockhart works with any prospective customer to determine the actual deposit amount, since the Commission's regulations allow Lockhart to adjust the security deposit when a customer is deemed to be a credit risk. Topic 5, communication regarding safety net provisions. Lockhart Power has always provided companies with a list of the assistance agencies within its service territory at the time they joined the system. In addition, Lockhart has made this list available on its company website, and now with the emergence of social media, Lockhart Power has begun to include the list of agencies and any news from such agencies on its social media outlets so that its customers are aware of the options for assistance that are available to them. Topic 6, planning return to normal operations. Consistent with the Commission order, Lockhart Power is working with the ORS to implement a plan to return to normal operations that meets the objectives of all involved parties. At this point, the plan is to return to normal collections processes effective July 1st, 2020. Any other plans will be discussed with the ORS before implementation as they present themselves. And then finally, under the category of nature of operational action taken, that we obviously didn't cover all of the actions we've taken. There were many. So we focused on one or two. Lockhart Power reviewed a variety of options to try to identify any programs that could provide a material benefit to some of its most needy customers. And the result was that Lockhart implemented a carefully structured, limited, accelerated deposit refunds, or ADR, program. The program relaxes certain deposit requirements for groups of customers that collectively represent a reasonably low default risk, and refunds their deposits earlier than would otherwise occur. Participation is voluntary, and while the program is still being rolled out, Lockhart has already refunded approximately $30,000 to dozens of residential customers. The average refund is approximately $400, which is a meaningful amount to many of those suffering from the pandemic's economic impact. And those conclude our comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stone. Next on our list is the South Carolina Telephone Coalition. Did John Bourne or Peg Fox ever join us on this call?
I'm here, David. Can you see me?
Could you wave?
Yeah.
Oh, I see you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, now is your time to present comments, Ms. Fox.
Great. Thank you, David. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Good morning, everyone. I I did prepare, we filed, John Bowen is here with me as well. I mentioned that on behalf of the South Carolina Telephone Coalition. We filed comments. We filed a brief summary of those comments. I'm going to go a little bit off script just so that I'm not reading to you, but I'll be very brief. As you know, the governor declared a state of emergency related to COVID-19 on March 13th, Friday the 13th. By Tuesday, March 17th, each one of our member companies, which is 21 rural companies in South Carolina operating as telephone utilities, had issued individually press releases about their responses to COVID-19. And we wrote a letter to the governor on March 17th attaching all of those press releases, and those have been filed with the commission as well for your information. But essentially, what the companies committed to do was to not terminate for 60 days from that date, to not terminate service to any residential or small business customers because of their inability to pay their bills due to the disruptions caused by the coronavirus pandemic, to waive any late fees that any residential or small business customers incur because of their economic circumstances related to the coronavirus pandemic, and to open their Wi-Fi hotspots to any American who needs them. The companies also committed to providing discounted services to qualifying households with school-aged children, as broadband services to enable distance learning, and they worked with their local school districts. Our companies are local companies. They live and work in the communities they serve, and they work very well with their local school districts and other community people out in the community with any additional needs that they might be able to address, including developing additional Wi-Fi hotspots where it was feasible and where they were needed to assist with e-learning. A lot of that has to do with broadband, which is not regulated by the commission, but we felt it was important to let the commission know that those were the efforts they were undertaking. One point is that those efforts vary a little bit depending on the utility and their local community because they are very responsive to local needs. For example, we have some who have a lot of hotels, restaurants, and things like that in their area. They're on the coast and have hospitality customers who are disproportionately affected by the pandemic, so they may have some special things that they do there. There's what works for electric utilities won't necessarily work for telephone. What works for a large utility might not work for a small utility. And even we're seeing differences among our customers, even among the coalition companies as to what responses that are more meaningful to their particular local communities. So, as I said, no one-size-fits-all. We don't think any particular measures ought to be mandated, but we sincerely appreciate the Commission's and ORS's efforts in identifying any regulatory barriers or obstacles that might be out there and the need for waivers of particular regulations so that the companies will have the flexibility that they need to be able to provide those solutions to their customers as needed. This is particularly true as far as not mandating particular approaches for telephone utilities because unlike other utilities, their rates are not regulated by the Commission. They may not have the same ability to be able to recover those costs, certainly not in a rate-making proceeding. For that reason, we also respectfully request that Commission Order Number 2020-372, which requires companies to track and file quarterly reports regarding the revenue impacts of their responses to COVID. We ask that that be clarified that that does not apply to telephone utilities. As stated by ORS in its motion, the purpose of requiring those reports is so that the Commission can gather data. This is why I didn't want to read. Hold on. To gather data to be used in future rate-making proceedings, which, because the Commission's rate-making authority over the SCTC member companies is limited by statute, we respectfully submit there's no reason for those quarterly reports. And that is consistent with a recent Commission ruling in the federal tax relief matter where they required the tracking of revenue impacts of federal tax relief, but said that there was no reason for the telephone utilities to do that because they're not regulated based on their costs and earnings. And that is my summary on behalf of the South Carolina Telephone Coalition.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Fox. It's appreciated. We will proceed then to hear from Blue Granite Water Company, please.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Again, on behalf of Blue Granite, I'm Sam Wellborn. Presenting the comment summary for Blue Granite is Don Denton, the president, and with him are the subject matter experts, Dante DeStefano, who's director of financial planning and analysis, and Deb Clark, who is communications and community engagement manager for Blue Granite. And just a quick note, this was mentioned in one of our filings, but because the rehearing decision is still pending in the Blue Granite rate case, we've cautioned our speakers not to discuss issues related to or implicated by the issues pending in that proceeding due to ex-parte communication issues. And with that, I'll turn things over to Mr. Denton. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chairman Randall and the Commission. Blue Granite appreciates this opportunity to provide comments on matters related to the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on customers and on utility operations. On May 22nd, 2020, pursuant to Commission Order number 2020-372, Blue Granite Water Company filed comments in this proceeding discussing these issues. As related to online payments and credit card processing fees, the company currently utilizes a third-party vendor to facilitate and process credit card and debt card, as well as e-check transactions. Currently, the third-party vendor collects the payment, including the applicable convenience fee, from the customer and then remits the utility bill payment amount to the company. The company could, as other South Carolina utilities have done, implement system changes allowing the company to pay these fees and recoup the associated costs and rates. Such system changes would cost approximately $20,000 to implement and require approximately 8 weeks to complete, and would be contingent upon amendment of the agreement with the company's vendor. In addition, as no fee bill payment options, Blue Granite currently offers to customers auto draft and check payment options. As related to late payment fees, as of March 10th, 2020, the company has suspended its collection processes, including the assessment of late charges, suspended disconnections and the issuance of disconnect notices, and reconnected customers whose service was terminated for non-payment between March 1, 2020 and March 10, 2020. As a result of these measures, as of May 19, 2020, the company has foregone approximately $28,066 in late fees that would have been assessed on past due balances. The company anticipates that the rescission of the waivers granted in Commission Order number 2020-228 will take time to implement, including adequate notification to customers and managing impacts to operations and customer service. The company, therefore, anticipates additional lost revenues due to temporary continued suspension of late fees and disconnections. As related to return check charges, the company has not suspended the imposition of return check or non-sufficient fund fees, as it does not believe that such a waiver would be in the best interest of customers or the company. Waiving such fees can incentivize improper payment practices and is likely to increase instances of NSF payments, which will increase the company's administrative burden and costs. The company does not currently report customer delinquencies to credit reporting agencies, nor does the company utilize credit agency information as related to customer account deposits. As related to communication regarding safety net provisions, the company has a practice of referring customers who are unable to make payments to nonprofits within the state, such as the Salvation Army or United Way, and Blue Granite is investigating the availability of local community action agencies for customers' assistance with water and sewer bills. The company is currently preparing plans to resume normal operations. The company has prepared an essential operations continuity plan, which ensures that sufficient operating materials and supplies are on hand or readily accessible, including, for example, chemicals and personal protection equipment. The essential operations continuity plan allows for the mobilization of identified certified operators to augment the company's workforce. The company has also implemented social distance scheduling and a new mobile application that tracks employees who are working remotely. The company plans to maintain work-from-home protocols for office employees for the foreseeable future while it identifies the need of its office environments to enact appropriate recommendations from the U.S. Center for Disease Control. As the company resumes its standard collection processes and customers begin to establish payment plans and other arrangements, we expect the call volume to significantly increase. The company plans to utilize temporary employees as needed to supplement its CSC staff. As disconnect notices, service terminations, and subsequent reconnections resume, the company anticipates a significant influx of service orders for field personnel, which will likely require overtime, supplemental staff, and/or contract operations to be utilized. The company currently utilizes a past due balance threshold for customers subject to disconnection, which avoids the incurrence of incremental expenses for smaller outstanding balances. And the company is considering increasing the threshold to assist customers and limit a spike in disconnect orders. The company intends to communicate to customers in advance its timeline for returning to standard collection processes, allowing customers the opportunity to request payment arrangements of up to 12 months, and all customers with past due balances who receive notices regarding the potential for disconnection will be notified of the opportunity to establish a payment arrangement under these terms. As related to cash flow and financial considerations, the suspension of disconnects and late fees has removed significant miscellaneous revenues as well as increased average uncollectible account balances. Increases in legal, communications, and regulatory costs have occurred for one time as well as recurring events and are likely to continue for the foreseeable future. Additionally, the company has incurred costs required to maintain employee safety and reliable provision of service such as PPE, sanitizer, and disinfectant cleaning products and services, and additional support staff to augment field operations. While it is possibly certain cost savings can be quantified, the company anticipates the net financial impact to be adverse. Blue Granite is monitoring its cash flow and reviewing options to maintain adequate funding for operations. However, the company anticipates a material adverse financial impact due to COVID-19 and therefore recommends that the Commission authorize establishment of a regulatory asset capturing the financial impacts of COVID-19 pandemic response. Such accounting treatment has been authorized for utilities in other jurisdictions, including but not limited to Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Texas. I wish to thank you again for this opportunity to provide comments on these important matters.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do any of your other officers wish to speak at this time?
I think we'll reserve them for any questions in question and answer section.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, we will then move to Palmetto Utilities and Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation.
Yeah, good morning. This is Mark Dada. I'm president of both Palmetto Utilities and Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation. I apologize. First of all, I'm having a little bit of camera problems, so you don't get to see me, but it's probably better you don't. But both of our utilities, before the governor's letter requesting, we stopped all shutoffs, all charges of late fees, and we reconnected anybody who was shut off previously for non-payment. And just as reference, we have about over 40,000 equivalent residential customers in the state of South Carolina. In general, we were, I think, quite proud of our reaction on our customer service side. We were able to, within a day, get all of our CSRs working from their homes with computers and phone hookups to our computer system and our customer management system so that we were able to maintain customer service throughout this crisis without really any interruption. As of 5/13, as of May 13, we brought people back in the office, mostly our customer service and accounting folks, with a few of them actually still staying home because of the tight quarters in our customer service area. So we're alternating them until things move on a little bit. But we're open for business there, and we've opened up our office for customer payments. Again, we didn't charge any late fees during this period of time. In terms of field operations, we didn't really have any major issues there. We abided by CDC safe work practices, and one of the things we did was defer non-essential maintenance capital projects until later in the year. So we didn't really see a lot of issues there. In terms of referring customers to local organizations, so our CSRs would do that anytime they had a customer who was problematic in late payment. We also posted all of that on our websites. We really didn't receive a lot of customer calls on that subject from residential customers, but they were mostly businesses, as you might imagine, such as restaurants, hotels, and workout gyms. We are in a little bit unusual situation that we have a flat rate, so they weren't able to benefit from lower volumetric usage. We've worked with them to try to work through their bills. We've also told some of them that they could discontinue service if they were completely closed and reconnect when they are back in business, and we would waive any reconnection fees. In specific, one other thing, we have had weekly calls directly with the Office of Regulatory Staff regarding our situation and where we're at both financially and operationally. We appreciate the fact that they reached out, and the ORS did call us each week, and then we had sort of a weekly update. In terms of financial impacts, most of our financial impacts were from not collecting, not getting payments from customers, and not charging for late fees and reconnection fees and those sort of things. Although it's been less than expected, we have been at least 10% behind what scheduled collections should have been as compared to the same period of time in 2019. With respect to some of the specific questions that was asked in the filing we made last Friday, the company doesn't basically charge for any online payment or credit card processing fees. We don't charge them directly for that. We did, as I mentioned, suspend late fees and reconnection fees earlier in the year, earlier in March. We don't believe it's feasible to suspend return check fees, as the banks we've talked to just won't cancel those as well, won't stop those. However, these are very minor amounts in overall scheme of things, and I think if any customer really has an issue with it, we'll look at that on a one-off basis. The company does not currently report any delinquencies to credit agencies. Again, we've reached out to local NGOs to talk to them about payment assistance and have listed them on our website. We're getting back to normal here now with our office open and available for payments. Just one or two items in terms, I think there was a request at one time for any changes that might help both customers and the utilities. And the one that we mentioned in our written document that we provided last Friday was that extending the disconnection period of the final certified mail from 20 days to 40 days. By that, I mean after our second set of certified mail, we only have 20 days to disconnect, and then the process repeats, including the late fees that we charge customers. And we would recommend that it be considered that instead of having the second requirement to have a certified mail notice after the 30 days we originally give, and then we're required to give another 10 days notice, that be waived, that we don't have to give them a certified mail and consequently incur that cost, and also charge them for that certified mail, which I think is $25. Just waive that and let us, go at a slower pace to disconnect customers as we can, and that would allow us to, help customers out that can't pay without this system of a 30-day notice and then a 10-day notice, and then the cycle repeats if you can't close them within 20 days. So we would request that the commission take a look at that process, because I think while it would lower our revenues, it would lower the charges to the customers, and it would also, I think, collect money quicker. I've always said that we would rather have everybody paying on time than us making money from late fees. That's all I have at this time. I thank you again for having us on this call and hearing our thoughts.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. Our next utility will be Dominion Energy, South Carolina.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission, and good morning to you as well, David Butler. This is Chad Burgess on behalf of Dominion Energy, South Carolina. We have two presenters today, Sam Dozier and Christina Freeman. Sam will be delivering our comments, and Christina will be available for questions by the Commission. So I'll turn it over to Sam and let him deliver the company's comments. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chairman Randall and members of the Commission, and good morning to you too, Mr. Butler. My name is Sam Dozier, and I am Vice President of Customer Service for Dominion Energy, South Carolina. As Mr. Burgess said, with me today is Christina Freeman, who is our company's Manager of Customer Assistance. She last appeared before you in the Bill Roundup docket last year. Ms. Freeman serves in a very important role for the company, as she and her team are on the front line, providing customers with opportunities to take advantage of financial assistance offered through the Office of Economic Opportunity, the state's community action agencies, and approximately 170 other organizations that provide bill pay assistance to our customers. We are very proud of the work that Christina and her team accomplish each day, and I trust that you will feel the same as you learn more about what we've done to assist customers during the COVID-19 crisis. I'll be the person delivering the company's comments, but both Christina and I will be available for questions at the appropriate time. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. It's almost become second nature to say these are unprecedented times, and we've heard that phrase used over and over, but it is true. These are unprecedented times, but they are not unprecedented in the sense of what Dominion Energy does every day to help its customers, and we're pleased to be here today to tell you our story, a story that is steeped in dedication, compassion, and resilience. When the crisis began, the company immediately instituted mitigation measures in response to the crisis for the benefit of its retail electric and natural gas customers. We waived late payment charges, ceased disconnections for non-payment, and waived reconnection charges for those residential customers whose service had recently been disconnected for non-payment. We've been doing this since March 16 and continue to do these things today. When you established the virtual forum, you asked that we address specific subjects, and I'm going to walk through what we have done and continue to do so regarding each matter. I'll start with online credit and processing fees. Dominion Energy is pleased to inform the Commission today that payment methods exist for customers who wish to avoid payment processing fees when transacting business online or with a credit or debit card. Specifically, the company's customers may pay their bill online by making an electronic payment, which is deducted from their checking or savings account. If a customer chooses this method of payment, there is no processing fee. Customers may also pay their bill online by making a payment with a credit card or debit card. If they choose this payment option, then there is no processing fee charged as long as the customer enrolls in paperless billing. With these measures in place, customers possess the ability to avoid paying a processing or transaction fee when conducting business with DESC if they so choose. Regarding late payment fees, the company began waiving late payment fees on March 16 with permission from the Commission, and we appreciate your granting that authorization to us. We continue to waive late payment charges today, as I stated earlier, but at some point in the future, the company will resume late payment charges. We have not yet made a final decision as to when to resume late pay charges, but when a date is selected, the company will communicate this information to its customers and intends to provide customers with adequate notice before resuming late pay charges. We will also provide notification to the Commission as well as to the Office of Regulatory Staff. Turning to return check charges, when a customer writes a check to the company that is returned for insufficient funds, the company charges that customer a service fee in the amount of $25. That fee is designed to cover the expenses that we incur for processing the return check. However, the company has the ability to waive a service fee on a case-by-case basis due to such things as multiple checking account mistakes. DESC does not recommend that the Commission take any action with respect to service fees originating from a return check. You also asked us to address credit reporting. The company only reports customer utility payment delinquencies to credit reporting agencies when that customer's account is final billed and written off. In other words, the company does not report active customer utility accounts that may be delinquent to credit reporting agencies. When an account is final billed and written off, DESC has exhausted all internal remedies to obtain collection of the account and referrals to customer assistance agencies. Bad debt expense that results from uncollectible accounts is a component of the company's electric and natural gas rates. It is important to understand, however, that arrears do not necessarily transmute into write-off. As we have stated in our comment letter, DESC is offering its customers multiple methods of financial assistance to pay their energy bills, which should have the effect of decreasing customer arrears that may otherwise convert to write-off. As for the use of credit reporting agency information to determine creditworthiness, DESC will only contact a credit reporting agency for this purpose at a time a customer requests new service. The purpose of contacting the credit reporting agency is to verify the customer's identity and to determine whether the customer must pay a security deposit. If a customer requests that DESC not contact a credit reporting agency seeking information regarding a deposit requirement, then DESC will honor that customer's request, but the company will require that the customer post the appropriate amount of security prior to connecting service. After a new service is initiated, the company does not contact a credit reporting agency for updated information regarding the customer. Due to the very limited nature in which DESC contacts a credit reporting agency, the company does not believe that any changes to its processes are necessary. You also wanted to hear from us regarding communications related to safety net provisions. Beginning with May bills, the company began proactively offering certain customers in arrears an opportunity to participate in budget billing. Customers in arrears are not normally eligible for budget billing. The sole reason for expanding our budget billing offer in May to certain customers in arrears is to provide these customers with an additional form of economic assistance, which will help them spread their past due amount over 12 months. DESC is trying to make the process as easy as possible. Therefore, customers do not need to call the company to enroll in budget billing. Instead, customers can simply select the budget billing payment amount offered on their paper or online bill to enroll in the program. Throughout the pandemic, the company has provided numerous updates to customers in multiple ways: email, social media, web and mobile, bill messaging, media interviews, and press releases. Updates have covered the company's moratorium on disconnecting service, energy efficiency and energy savings tips, scam awareness, available bill pay assistance, efficient ways to do business with the company, company operations during the pandemic, and the company's response to storms. We continue to be most proud of our excellent record of outage restoration when our customers and our system are affected by bad weather. And we continue to improve outage reporting options for our customers, with over 90% of outages reported via self-service channels when storms and tornadoes hit our service territory back in April. The company works closely with the South Carolina Office of Economic Opportunity to connect customers with community action agencies, which have received increased federal funding for energy assistance programs. Our web pledge process allows over 180 agencies statewide to quickly allocate funds to specific customer accounts. This process has proved most helpful as the company, community agencies, and our state partner to transition back to normalcy. During the COVID-19 crisis, the company, through the Dominion Energy Charitable Foundation, also made financial contributions that support the company's customers. On March 23rd, we contributed $125,000 to the 1SC Fund to support a collaborative statewide response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This contribution was a part of the Foundation's overall $1 million commitment to support national organizations such as the American Red Cross, as well as to address local needs. In addition, the company's charitable foundation has committed $50,000 to Harvest Hope Food Bank, which provides an invaluable service by helping our customers who struggle with food insecurity and hunger. DESC is pleased to be able to make these contributions and will be evaluating other ways to provide additional financial support to our communities during the crisis. Additionally, on May 19th, Dominion Energy finalized the expansion of Energy Share into South Carolina with a $250,000 donation to the program, which is administered through the South Carolina Office of Economic Opportunity. Energy Share is Dominion Energy's year-round energy assistance program that helps qualified, low-income, disabled, and elderly customers with bill payment assistance for their electric and natural gas services. Funds donated to the program will be allocated among the 12 community action agencies in our service territory. In addition to Dominion Energy's corporate contribution, which is funded by shareholder dollars, the South Carolina Office of Economic Opportunity will also continue to receive a monthly check for Energy Share program funds through voluntary donations from the company's customers, employees, and retirees. Since the predecessor program, Project Share, was started in 1986, more than $9.2 million in contributions have assisted DESC customers with their heating and cooling needs. In 2019 alone, DESC customers, employees, and retirees contributed $155,000 to the program. You also asked for information regarding our plans to return to normal operations. Back in March, the company instituted mandatory teleworking for all employees able to do so, and also instructed its Ready Reserve employees to stay home. This strategy has served the company and its customers well, as evidenced by the reliable service provided by the company during these difficult times, including the severe weather that spawned tornadoes across our state on April 13. I can tell you from a personal viewpoint that I'm ready to return to my office, but my day will come. But for now, the company is taking a phased-in approach. Phase 1 reintegration focuses on employees' job duties which are completed in the field, as well as essential work that cannot be done through teleworking. This covers a range of roles from linemen and technicians to mechanics and operations managers, each with a unifying goal of strengthening the company's ability to keep the power flowing and power on and the gas flowing both today and long term. Phase 1 was initiated on May 11. Phase 2 will focus on employees who are able to perform some of their job functions remotely, but may also have a need to be present in the office. This covers those employees, for example, who need to utilize special equipment to create drawings and other engineering plans. These employees could be present in the office during certain days of the week and not present on other days. The company will implement Phase 2 on June 8, 2020. Before I talk about Phase 3, I want to quickly bring your attention that our customer contact center representatives are not included in Phase 1 nor Phase 2. These dedicated employees are able to adequately perform their job duties by teleworking technology. During the pandemic crisis, 70% of our customer contact center representatives have been assisting customers directly from their homes, as have employees that support customer contact center technology, training, and quality review. The company's experience with having a high percentage of customer contact center representatives working at home has been positive, and there's no need to rush these employees back into the office. Finally, Phase 3 focuses on those employees who can perform their job duties remotely and do not have an immediate need to return to their office. Phase 3 covers those employees who perform services-related functions such as lawyers and accountants. DESC intends to implement Phase 3 no sooner than September 8th. Like DESC's Customer Contact Center representatives, these employees are adequately performing their job duties at home, and there's no need to accelerate their return to the office. We know that you're also interested in when the company will resume disconnections, but we have not yet decided when we will resume disconnections for non-payment. When a date is selected, we will communicate this information to you, to the Office of Regulatory Staff, as well as to our customers. We will also provide our customers with the appropriate disconnection notice as required by the Commission regulations before disconnecting service. I want to conclude by stating that the COVID-19 crisis has been difficult for everyone. It's been difficult for me, it's been difficult for Christina, and I have no doubt it's been difficult for you. All of our lives have been disrupted, but through it all, here we are doing what we all do best, ensuring that customers are being taken care of and that energy continues to flow in a safe and reliable manner, and I'm proud to be a part of the effort. Every day, Dominion Energy's employees in South Carolina work tirelessly to provide safe, reliable service to our customers and to do their part to make our state a better place. We focus on system operations, reducing customer effort, and improving our customers' experiences. In my 32 years with the company, I remain most proud of the men and women that so faithfully serve. Thank you again, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission. This concludes the summary of our comments. Christina and I will be available for questions at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Mr. Butler.
Yes, sir.
This is one of those things that, we have first every time we do a virtual hearing.
Yes, sir.
But we do need to take a brief break. I forget about how we keep going. So what we're going to do is take a break, and we're going to resume at 11:21 in 10 minutes. We like to ask everyone to please stay on the line. Please mute your phones because we don't want to hear what anybody's doing while we're breaking. And with that, we will take a short break, and we will return at 11:21. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, to this morning's virtual forum. Before we begin and getting back, we're still working out this virtual format here, but we need to make sure that we have all of our commissioners with us. So we'll call the commission roll before we begin again. Commissioner Belzer.
I'm here.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Howard.
Here.
Commissioner Irvin. Commissioner Irvin. Okay, we'll hunt down Commissioner Irvin and get his phone back on, and we will continue. Mr. Butler, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and we'll start back. Thank you, everyone, for that break.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Dozier, for your comments on behalf of Dominion Energy South Carolina. And we will now proceed to several entities that have filed comments as a group. South Carolina State Conference of the NAACP, SCCCL, SACE, and Upstate Forever. If you will, please give us the summary of your comments. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Randall and members of the Commission. My name is Kate Lee, and I'm here on behalf of South Carolina State Conference of the NAACP, South Carolina Coastal Conservation League, Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, and Upstate Forever. And as others have mentioned, I greatly appreciate this opportunity to provide comments on ways to mitigate the far-reaching economic impacts of COVID-19 on utility customers. Our comments will focus on three issues. First, disconnections, arrearage management, and data collection. Second, near-term options for utilities to adjust their energy efficiency programs while still respecting health and safety concerns. And three, the importance of expanding energy efficiency programs to alleviate energy burden on customers, particularly low-income customers, in light of COVID-19. To begin, we'd first like to commend the Commission and South Carolina utilities for acting swiftly at the start of the pandemic to suspend customer disconnections and institute other emergency measures for utility customers. We also fully support the Commission's decision to allow utilities additional flexibility in offering payment plans to customers. However, we are concerned that flexible payment plans and referring customers to local assistance organizations may be insufficient to deal with the magnitude of the crisis at this time. We appreciate that many utilities in South Carolina recognize the hardship that many of their customers face and have not yet resumed disconnections or late payment charges. We believe these practices should remain suspended until utilities and the Commission more fully understand the impacts of COVID-19 on utility customers and potential means to address them. As we provided in our full comments, organizations such as the National Association of State Utility Consumer Advocates and the National Consumer Law Center have provided recommendations for the types of data collection, planning, and affordability programs that should be undertaken before utility disconnections resume. As such, we respectfully request that the Commission revisit its earlier decision to allow disconnections at this time. Secondly, while suspending disconnections and offering payment assistance and arrearage management plans are critically important during this time of emergency, energy efficiency programs also offer a proven solution for households struggling to pay their electricity bills. Due to health and safety concerns, many utilities, including those in South Carolina, have temporarily suspended certain programs that require in-home visits. As a result, utilities across the country and leading energy efficiency organizations have been working to identify program adjustments and other creative solutions that allow utilities to continue offering these much-needed energy-saving programs to households while still protecting the health and safety of customers, utility staff, and contractors. For example, some utilities have begun to offer programs such as energy audits and customer education and outreach efforts virtually or over the phone. Others have expanded their use of self-install kits that include measures such as LED bulbs, faucet aerators, and power strips that can be shipped to customers to install on their own. And in some cases, utilities have resumed programs with the use of additional personal protective equipment and health and safety measures. Utilities can also use this time to identify and provide information about energy efficiency programs to customers that may be good candidates for those programs when they resume at a later date. For example, after one Florida utility halted its low-income neighborhood program, the utility compiled a list of customers in eligible census-tract neighborhoods sorted by electricity consumption and developed customized scripts to use for customer outreach and to refer customers to different programs as appropriate. Another innovative approach could be for utilities to reach out to owners of vacant or underused commercial buildings to offer energy efficiency analysis and upgrades, an approach that would both help meet utility savings goals and provide jobs in a better footing for economic recovery. And in any event, utilities should plan to roll over any unspent energy efficiency program funds to use once programming resumes. We recognize that regulatory approvals could be necessary to effectuate some of these recommendations and request that the Commission allow utilities the needed flexibility to adapt their energy efficiency programs so they can continue to be offered in the near term. Finally, many low to moderate South Carolina households experienced high energy burdens even before the current pandemic and associated economic crisis. Expanding access to comprehensive energy efficiency upgrades, such as heating and cooling upgrades and weatherizing homes, is necessary to ensure those customers are not left even further behind as this crisis develops over the long term. Some options to expand these programs in the future could include on-bill financing or on-bill tariff programs, the use of voluntary bill roundup programs to increase energy efficiency funding, or the development of a streamlined single-step application process for low-income residents to apply for services such as the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, the Weatherization Assistance Program, and home rehabilitation. The Commission should also consider its role in encouraging utilities to meet savings goals through the use of energy efficiency programs. Again, we thank the Commission for the opportunity to provide these comments, and I welcome any questions that you may have at the conclusion of the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lee. We now have CenturyLink, Mr. Elliott.
Mr. Butler, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for allowing us to participate and comment in this forum this morning. CenturyLink supports the comments of Frontier Communications and the South Carolina Telephone Coalition filed on May 22nd. As with those companies, CenturyLink has taken steps to assist customers affected by the COVID-19 crisis. In particular, CenturyLink pledges to take the following two steps through June 30, 2020. First, CenturyLink will not terminate service to any residential or small business customer because of its inability to pay its bills due to the disruptions caused by the coronavirus pandemic. And second, CenturyLink will waive late fees that any residential or small business customer incurs because of this pandemic. In addition, CenturyLink has been assisting customers experiencing financial hardships through payment plans and so forth. And last, CenturyLink would respectfully request that it be exempt from any financial reporting relating to costs and savings related to the COVID-19 measures. Similar to other telephone companies, CenturyLink does not operate on a rate of return basis and has elected alternative regulation. Accordingly, there is not a regulatory mechanism for CenturyLink or other similarly situated telephone utilities to recover costs associated with providing customers additional flexibility in response to COVID-19. Thus, in light of this election, CenturyLink respectfully submits that it should be exempt from financial reporting, similar for the same reasons as outlined by Ms. Fox on behalf of the SCTC. Once again, Mr. Butler and Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for the opportunity to participate this morning. And if there are questions, I will try to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Elliott. I know that the Office of Regulatory Staff was not requested to file comments here. In fact, many of the comments that we've heard have been about proposals of the Office of Regulatory Staff. But I would just ask, does anyone from ORS wish to make any remarks at this time? I felt like we ought to give you at least an opportunity.
Thanks, Mr. Butler. Jeff Nelson for ORS. I don't really have any comments to make other than we appreciate the commission setting this up, and we very much appreciate the comments from both the stakeholders as well as the utilities today. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nelson. Mr. Chairman, that does end the list of commenters according to my list. And I believe at this time it'd be appropriate to turn the meeting back over to you for any commissioner questions that there may be. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. I appreciate it. Commissioners, now is the time if anyone has questions. I want to say first before we start, thank you for everybody's participation, for your thorough responses, and for the hard work that everyone has done during this unusual time for all of us. So with that, commissioners, just step up and say your name and go for it as far as questions are concerned.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Belzer.
Thank you. I too echo your sentiments and thank the companies, the utilities, their presenters for their comments today, for the work that it took to prepare the written comments, the summaries, and to be present today. I think through your written comments and your presentations today, you've given us some good things to think about, and I certainly appreciate the flexibility. I think that's a key word for what we have been going through and what we will be going through as we try to see what's going to be happening with the economy and our citizens and as things move forward. One question that I had, and I don't, it's not directed to any particular utility, but I reckon I may start with DEC and DEP and Piedmont, since y'all went first. And I remember, I think Mr. Barkley used the term maximum flexibility policy. But with regard to deferred payment plans and of course, the waiver of it being limited to 6 months, and I know some companies have indicated a year. Is there flexibility for renegotiation during the time? Because, I mean, we don't exactly know what's going to happen and where we're going. And so I just, generally it's been my experience working with consumers and utilities that if someone is on a deferred payment plan and falls behind, that there may not be any leeway to kind of renegotiate that. Is that something that has been discussed or considered going forward? We may not be at that point yet, but I'm just kind of curious about that. So I may hit on Ms. Shirley Smith first. And
well, Commissioner Belzer, this is Mike Callahan, and I would just say appreciate the comments of the commissioners. You're right, these are unusual times and flexibility will be necessary, and I think we're going to have to take into account the individual circumstances for customers. But I would ask Leslie, who's here on behalf of Duke and Piedmont from the customer perspective, to weigh in on how we're thinking about that flexibility.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner Belzer. Yes, like you mentioned earlier, we are really trying to proactively reach out to our customers through text, email, et cetera, to get them on a deferred payment arrangement. We are extending some of those deferred payment arrangements longer than we normally would. And I think to your point, we are going to have to work with customers after we get them on an extended payment arrangement if they need a new one. So we will be working with our customers to ensure that they're able to have an appropriate balanced deferred payment arrangement. So I would say yes, we will be working towards that. And
I appreciate that. I mean, it's kind of difficult when you have a payment arrangement yet you don't have income. And so these are some unprecedented times that we are looking at. So,
right.
Anyone else have any thoughts on that kind of flexibility, or at least looking at it? We certainly would appreciate it, or this commissioner would anyway.
Commissioner Belser, this is Sam Dozier with Dominion Energy South Carolina. Similar to the comments from the Duke companies, we are most willing and have been willing to negotiate deferred payment plans and various opportunities for customers. We still have customers asking for arrangements, even though we have suspended disconnections for non-payment. And so needless to say, some of them are already asking for renegotiation, and we certainly expect that will be the case moving forward. So we will, as we always have, work with customers on the negotiation of a payment arrangement.
Thank you, Mr. Dozier. We certainly appreciate that flexibility and those considerations for the customers. The only other thing that I would like to say is, I mean, there's this docket that's open, and I know that we've asked for reports to be made, but please, y'all, if you have something that's working, please share it with the ORS and with the other utilities, or with the commission, or if something's not working, we probably need to know that too. I don't know that if y'all have any kind of utility group that y'all are all talking these things out, these issues out, trying to work through things, but I mean, it's going to take some working together, and we certainly appreciate your help and what y'all have done thus far, and look forward to working with y'all in the future as we kind of navigate through these somewhat treacherous times. So, but thank y'all for your presentation today. I really appreciate your work. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Belser. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I would like to join Commissioner Belcher and you for the comments that you've made to the providers. They've made me very proud to see the way that they have taken this situation and tried to make it as easy as possible on the consumer. And I think the action you've shown has made this full commission proud of you. And we look forward to hoping the end of this thing is going to be near. But I feel like we can count on you to do your best to help us through the end of it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Hamilton. Commissioners, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Howard.
Hey, Chairman, one issue that has been getting some, I'd say, publicity on a nationwide basis and other utilities, it was mentioned briefly by Lockhart, and that is the, I guess, the utilization of security deposits to help alleviate some of the immediate stress on the ratepayers. Have any of our utilities given much thought to some relief, and I might require some regulatory change, but in any relief to utilizing security deposits to help the ratepayers? I'll just start with Duke or Dominion, either one. But if anybody wants to weigh in and comment, go ahead.
And Leslie, if you want to go ahead and answer for Duke and Piedmont.
Yeah. Good morning, Commissioner Howard.
Good morning.
We are still assessing deposits for our customers, especially in the start service realm. So currently we are doing that. We did make a decision internally to continue doing that, just relative to the longer-term impacts around charge-offs. I think I heard one utility that's either refunding deposits or giving back deposits, but currently we are still assessing deposits that could be interested, given some sort of regulatory recovery or whatnot, to maybe either refund customers or to waive those deposits. So it is something we did discuss internally.
Anyone else want to comment?
Commissioner Howard, this is Sam Dozier with Dominion Energy. Very similar to the comments from How you doing today?
Doing fine.
Very similar to the comments that Leslie made on behalf of the Duke companies. We've done the very same. We're looking at it. We're giving consideration to it. The fact is, collection of deposits has really helped the company prior to COVID-19 really control arrears and long-term bad debt expense. So it's a great tool that serves its purpose, but we will continue to assess it as we move forward, working with the parties on the phone, most notably the Office of Regulatory Staff, on what some of the opportunities may be.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman. Well, go ahead, whoever.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Whitfield. Just wanted to chime in and thank all of the parties that have presented today, but also it was encouraging to hear from Ms. Quick, Mr. Dozier, and Mr. Stone, particularly on what our utilities are doing to be proactive, to see things through the customer's lens. And as Commissioner Belzer said, it was encouraging to hear the response to her question as people set up payment plans, being able to try to stick to that even though they don't have any income. I realize in a lot of cases these stimulus checks are out. Many of them have been received. Some are still in the mail. And while that's a big one-time lump sum check, many of these folks were already in dire straits when they got that money and had other pressing needs. And a lot of times that money was, as they say, already spent before they got it. So while that's been some help and some relief in some ways, it was encouraging to hear the parties be proactive and thinking ahead, if you will, to Commissioner Belzer's question that these are certain situations are not going to go away quickly, and they're going to linger on for a while, and we don't know how long a while is, and we don't know how long a while this pandemic is still going to be. So certainly, Mr. Chairman, I commend you and the parties and all involved today, and thank all of them for participating in this format and sharing what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Whitfield. Someone else was trying to say something, I think, after Commissioner Howard's.
No, that was just, I was continuing. I had another question.
Oh, okay. Well, continue on then, Commissioner Howard.
I guess it's a curiosity question more than anything else, but doing this thing and listening to webinars and all that, the figure comes up that on deferred payment plans, and the number I've heard is 80% of those plans are defaulted after the first payment, before the first payment. Is that percentage pretty well bared out by our utilities, our regulated utilities?
Commissioner Howard, this is Sam Dozier again with Dominion Energy. I don't have that percentage for our company, so I really can't respond to that. It seems high to me, but I do not have that percentage of the number of defaults in the first month.
It seemed high to me. That's why I asked the question.
Yes, sir.
Leslie, do you want to weigh in? Do we have any stats from a Duke perspective?
This is Leslie Quick again. No, I don't think I have those stats in front of me currently, Commissioner Howard. I will say we do see customers, the longer the DPAs, the more likely customers are to default. So that's just one piece of information, but I'm not sure what the percentage is relative to your question. But we can take that as a follow-up item.
Well, last but certainly not least, I'd like to commend all of our utilities for supporting charitable foundations that help everybody else in the community. So really appreciate hearing about the amount of money y'all have given in to support other charitable foundations. And thank you very much for your presentations, and thanks for working together. I appreciate it. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard. Commissioners, any other questions before we end?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Commissioner Irvin.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to thank the parties as well for the presentations today. I've been very impressed in hearing about the various steps you've taken. We particularly appreciate the willingness to work with customers during these challenging times. I hope you can continue to do that, and I wish you all well as you gear up and come back full force with your employees and keeping their safety in mind. You've done, I think, a great job thus far in addressing and responding to this crisis and this challenge. And we're most appreciative for all your efforts, and thank you again for taking part in this hearing today.
Thank you, Commissioner Irvin. As we end, I want to thank everybody again for being here today, for your participation, and for your patience on doing a virtual hearing. I know there's some delay, and I think everybody has handled that well. We appreciate our staff at the Public Service Commission who's gone over and above to make sure that these virtual hearings and virtual forums and virtual meetings come off without a hitch, and I think we've been very successful. So I certainly want to thank all of our staff that have worked on this, and appreciate all the folks that have commented today, all of our participants, and wish everyone good luck as we go forward in this. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again right here. So is there anything else, commissioners or Mr. Butler, to come before us?
I'm not aware of anything, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Well, if so, then we are adjourned, and I thank you all.